Hi, my name is Ross Riddleston. Welcome to this Anson McCade Future series of webinars and podcasts. Today, with the help of some industry experts, we're going to be shining some light on the future of technology and business, with particular focus on diversity, skills, and working practices. Today, we're going to be speaking to the CTO of Utillix, Hughes.
Good morning, Ross. Thanks for inviting me in. We'll talk about AR and how it pertains to the built environment and what the future trends for augmented reality are. As you know, I'm the CTO of Utillix. What we do is we remove the obstruction from construction. We help geolocate and contextualize subsurface utilities for people in the construction industry or for utilities. Our technology provides visual representation of assets such as water, gas, power, sewerage, stormwater. All of this information, which is contextualized onto our handheld device from our platform, helps field workers to be able to make more empowered decisions and to reduce safety risks and increase cost savings.
So you're using augmented reality within that. What does that mean?
Yeah, sure. So within our current platform, we had a 2D representation, which was overlaying utilities as lines on a mapping interface. We've evolved and taken that solution further. So, for example, if you're looking down Main Street, you will be able to use our augmented reality application and be able to visualize where the high pressure gas, where the high voltage electricity is, where the water is, superimposed on your built environment.
And so within your role, you're developing augmented reality for enterprise applications. What are the core elements that make AR possible?
What are the core elements that make AR possible? AR becomes really magic when you can start browsing reality, but this requires constant and adaptive access to live data about the surrounding environment. So you need real-time geolocation, real-time geographic GIS data, and you also need to have devices. My personal view is that headsets and bulky lenses aren't quite ready for the consumer market. There are applications in the enterprise space, and our platform direction is firmly focused on the mobile format. So whether it be mobiles or tablets, to be able to visualize subsurface utilities as you're walking through a construction site.
Okay. So at a practical level, are we at a point where this technology can be used now?
Yeah, look, very much so. So, we have an enterprise application that allows construction companies or utilities to be able to locate their assets and to be able to visualize them. There's been a number of proof of concepts. I guess AR really entered the mainstream with the launch of Pokemon Go in 2016. There were so many people running around trying to catch them all. And then over the last 12 months, IKEA has launched an app that allows you to place virtual furniture in your home or your office. I've seen a number of apps recently which allow you to point a lens at a wine bottle and to be able to have its provenance revealed, and to be able to get additional information about the terroir and all kinds of interesting stuff about the label. There's other applications. A couple of things Google have done recently. Google Translate can now translate text on the fly if you use the AR view. Google also launched their AR core development kit, and as a proof of concept with that, they released the Ghostbusters game. So that happened a few weeks ago. iPhone X has a really accurate tape measure. Again, that's a proof of concept. And if you use things like Facebook Messenger, you can superimpose bunny ears or tiaras or whatever you want over your image. Well, all of this is it's the thin end of the augmented reality wedge. This really is an industry that will be worth billions going forward.
So I suppose given that there are a few applications now, is there a tipping point or a lot going on behind the scenes?
Yes, Deloitte estimates that there'll be billion smartphone users globally using augmented reality solutions in 2018, so by the end of the year. And by 2020, AR should generate direct revenues of about $1 billion US.
So how mainstream is it going to be then? For everyone using it in their everyday lives?
Yeah, look, I believe so. Yeah, there's been a lot of overpromising and under-delivering. Google Glass had a stumble. Snapchat had a go with their spectacles. Magic Leap is an extremely well capitalized startup. It's $2 billion worth of investment. That's billion with a B. Facebook's Oculus's platform has been slightly underwhelming. Microsoft has chosen its own path with its HoloLens solution. But you can bet your bitcoins that organizations like Amazon and Apple are striving. They're really striving to commercialize the technology, and that's written large in the number of patents that have been filed recently around augmented reality.
And what are the biggest barriers for augmented reality now?
Yeah, look, I don't see the technology becoming truly mainstream until the devices, for example, for headsets, until they become basically fashionable, miniaturized, and that the cost reduce, the connectivity. The internet speed is there. Magic Leap, the startup that I talked about earlier, even with its $2 billion worth of investment, it still has battery issues, so it won't work while it's being charged. And it's a pretty fundamental issue for a consumer device.
So how do you see it maturing?
Yeah, look, at its core, power of AR goes out of the way humans process information. We process information at different rates through our 5 senses, but a picture paints 1,000 words. Vision gives us the most information by far. 80 or 90% of information that we process is collected via your vision. But there's a bottleneck on how much information you can absorb. That's capacity. Bottleneck is called cognitive load. So everything you do, numerous tasks side by side or in parallel, increase your cognitive load. If you're reading smartphone directions, for example, and driving, that increases your cognitive load. AR helps reduce this. You can superimpose the information, for example, in the driving use case. You can superimpose directions on a heads-up display. AR reduces the dependence on information that's not in context, two-dimensional information on pages or screens, and it really helps you be able to understand and apply information to the real world.
Right. So do you think businesses have unrealistic expectations about AR due to consumer hype?
Look, I think it's probably the reverse. The press about consumer uses of new technology can impact the perception of the technology in business. If you think of press around drones, there's been a lot of rules and regulations drawn up recently about drones, which suggests that they're a nuisance or a toy, but we see very real business applications. For example, in Utillix, we use drone mapping for greenfield construction sites and for capital infrastructure works. And there's use cases in the drone industry for inspecting refineries, pipelines, etc. The same goes for blockchain. What was the technology behind Bitcoin, which was really first seen as as a currency to be used by people people doing bad things on the dark web, drug dealers, etc. But businesses are really beginning to understand what blockchain is and what the impact will be on contracts, for example. AR was seen as a game platform initially when it hit public consciousness, and there was some bad press when Google Glass stalled. Google puts its weight behind an initiative and it doesn't gain traction, then people stand up and take notice. But I think people who work in the AR space, both in the industrial side and the consumer side, are really excited about the potential of augmented reality to change the way that we interact with the world.
You mentioned Google's AR kit, but I saw recently that there's an AR dev kit with a new iPhone iOS release, apparently making it the biggest global AR platform. What's this and Google's efforts going to mean?
Yeah, look, Apple is making augmented reality a tentpole feature. It's baked into the iPhone 8 and iPhone X and is backported to the iPhone 7s and 6s. They're also, according to patents, developing an AR headset for release in the next 2 to 5 years. It's not just Apple in the space though. Google released AR Core a couple of weeks ago from beta, and that has a user base of 100 million devices potentially. AR Kit is a supported base. If you extrapolate out from sales numbers of somewhere between 150 to 200 million, so it's a reasonably even playing field. Other companies, Facebook, for example, has AR Studio to allow you to create augmented reality effects within their ecosystem, and Amazon has come into the market as well with its AR View, to be able to allow consumers to be able to visualize items in their home before they actually make a purchase.
Yeah, I guess there's, looking at the tools involved, I guess there's a lot of work around design and graphics rendering, but what's involved beyond that from a technical and business perspective?
Design is key. There's a talent gap in the user experience space in the technology industry as a whole, but it's critical to be able to design an augmented reality experience that's useful and not just stunning. If it is amazing but it's unhelpful, then it really defeats its core purpose. Content is key too, so people who are able to create the right content are crucial. Digital modeling capabilities and knowledge of how to apply them in the AR world are also very important.
And I suppose conceptualizing how it can be used as well is probably a big issue.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. So how do you think people can get more involved in this, in this up and coming technology, be that companies or individuals?
Yeah, look, there is a lot of enthusiasm and optimism. However, the space is still nascent. There's going to be a road, a journey to widespread adoption. The development experience has now been democratized through the release of AR Kit and AR Core. As a company or individual, if you want to start experimenting with those dev kits, it's quite easy just to get a proof of concept application up and running. From an organization perspective, if you want to build awareness of technology, start using AR apps within the company and trialing them, using the headsets, exploring virtual reality. Um, just having those devices and the experience around can spark innovation. And also finding the right partners, people who've got experience in the AR space and in the development and design side will also help people to be able to, organizations to be able to get involved in the AR space.
So what sort of toolkits do people need to develop in this space?
Yeah, so there's AR Kit, which is from Apple. That's been live since late last year. AR Core, which was released a few weeks ago from Google. It's designed for Android 8, 8.1 up. Facebook is AR Studio. All of these are a stake in the ground, and I'm seeing incremental improvements in the kits, in the SDKs. For example, AR Core is now able to deal with textured environments, textured surfaces, and it's now able to better situate objects in the real environment on a textured surface. There's been some improvements in AR Kit from Apple about how it recognizes vertical planes. So that's really a technical way of saying the sensors on your iDevice, your iPhone, or your iPad will not only recognize the floor you're on, but also the windows and walls as well. And this is an incremental improvement. So this means that when app devs are making AR apps now, they can also build in features which can utilize the vertical space around you as well as the horizontal space. So it's kind of blurring the line between AR and VR almost.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Connor. Some really interesting insight there. I mean, it sounds like we are on the cusp of big changes in the way we're using technology and interacting with the world. So I suppose final question from me, do you think that we'll be seeing Google Glass and all wearing crazy glasses in the future to see all this?
Yeah, look, Google Glass is an interesting one, and as I said earlier, it's stalled, but it's still out there. It's getting some great reviews from business. It's still being used in the manufacturing and healthcare, so Google is still gathering data and improving that experience. And from the AR perspective, there's a consensus and a thought movement out there that AR has the potential to become the fourth platform in computing. So in the 80s, personal computing destroys the mini computer companies, and that's how the launch of Apple and Microsoft. In the 90s, the internet exploded, spawned Google and Amazon, Facebook. And then in 2007, the iPhone was launched. And that kicked off the mobile era. Some organizations thrived, others like Microsoft fell to the wayside in the mobile space. So I guess devices, whether they be on the mobile side or headsets, aren't necessarily the future, but I think AR certainly is.
Great. Connor, thank you very much for your time. That was really interesting insight. Actually, you see this kind of technology out there, like Pokemon, for example, and it's easy to take that stuff for granted, but it's quite interesting to see where things are happening. Thanks for your time. To find out more about Connor and Utillix, we'll post some links below. And thanks for taking the time out to do this webinar for us, and thanks to all the viewers for watching as well. Hope to see you next time.
Great, thanks, Ross. Appreciate it.